Welcome back to the Hardware Core, your destination for honest, data-dense hardware breakdowns and zero marketing fluff. $1,000 still builds a genuinely excellent gaming PC in 2026, but only if you spend it in the right order. Here's the problem. Most budget builds don't fail because the budget is too small. They fail because the money went to the wrong components. A mid-range CPU that didn't need an upgrade, too much RAM speed that games can't use, a case with 300 LED fans instead of a better graphics card. Today we're fixing that. This is the complete $1,000 gaming PC build for 2026. Every component justified by real performance data, not brand loyalty. We're covering what to buy, what to skip, and exactly what you get at the monitor when the system is running. Before we touch a single component, let's talk about the rule that determines whether this build succeeds or fails. 40 to 50% of your budget goes to the GPU. That's $400 to $500 on the graphics card. Everything else fits into what's left. This feels uncomfortable until you realize that gaming performance comes almost entirely from the graphics card, not the CPU, not the RAM speed, not the case. At this budget, the pick is the AMD Radeon RX 9060 XT, specifically the 16GB variant. At around $350 to $379, this card delivers the largest frame buffer in its price tier by a significant margin. 16GB of GDDR6 at this price point is something competing cards simply don't offer. It handles 1920 by 1080 at ultra settings comfortably, and pushes into 2560 by 1440 on less demanding titles without hitting a VRAM wall. For the CPU, the Ryzen 5 9600X on the AM5 platform. Around $199 to $219. 6 cores, 12 threads, up to 5.4 GHz boost, and a 65-watt thermal design power that barely needs cooling. The extra cores from stepping up to a Ryzen 7 don't move the needle in gaming at this resolution, but that $80 price difference absolutely does when it goes toward the GPU instead. And the AM5 platform is officially supported through at least 2029. So the board you buy today accepts the next generation of Ryzen processors without a platform change. With the CPU and GPU locked in, the foundation components go next. These are the parts people overspend on most often. Motherboard, the Gigabyte B850M DS3H or the MSI Pro B850MP. Around $109 to $129. You're on AM5 with full PCIe 5.0 M2 support. The B850 chipset gives you mandatory USB 4 and better DDR5 memory compatibility than the previous generation B650 boards. Don't spend more here. A premium Z890 board on a 65-watt CPU is a complete waste of money. RAM, 32GB of DDR5-6000 in a 2x16GB kit. Around $85 to $105. DDR5-6000 is the sweet spot for Zen 5 architecture. It hits the memory controller's preferred bandwidth range without paying the premium for higher frequency bin kits. 16GB is technically sufficient in 2026, but modern AAA titles plus Windows background processes regularly push past that ceiling, and the price delta between 16 and 32GB is not large enough to justify the compromise. Storage, a 1TB PCIe Gen 4 NVMe SSD. Around $70 to $90. The Samsung 980 Pro, Crucial P3+, or WD Black SN770 all hit this price range and deliver more than enough speed for any gaming workload. Don't spend the Gen 5 premium here. Sequential speed differences between Gen 4 and Gen 5 are invisible in real-world game loading. The performance gap only shows up in sustained large file transfers you won't be doing in games. Add a 2TB SATA drive for cold game library storage if you run a large backlog. SATA is cheap and faster than you need for storing files you aren't actively running. 2 components left, and both of them are where budget builders most commonly cut too deep. For the CPU cooler, the Thermalright Peerless Assassin 120 SE, $35. That's not a typo. This dual-tower air cooler with 2 120mm fans consistently outperforms 240mm AIO liquid coolers in noise-normalized testing. A 65-watt Ryzen 5 9600X barely makes it break a sweat. It'll run near silent under full gaming load. Don't spend $120 on a 360 AIO for a chip that doesn't need it. For the power supply, a 650-watt, 80+ gold-rated unit. Around $75 to $95. The Corsair RM650X, Seasonic Focus GX650, and Be Quiet. Pure Power 12M are all solid choices. The Ryzen 5 and RX 9060 XT together draw well under 300 watts at gaming load. A 650-watt unit runs in its optimal efficiency window with headroom for a future GPU upgrade. And here's the part that can't be said enough. Do not cheap out on the power supply. A failing no-name unit doesn't just die. It takes components with it. So, what does this build actually deliver when it's running? At 1920 by 1080, this system is effectively unconstrained. Every modern AAA title runs at high to ultra settings well above 100 frames per second on a standard 144Hz display. Competitive titles in Counter-Strike 2, Valorant, and Apex Legends push well past the 144Hz ceiling consistently. At 2560 by 1440, the picture is still strong. The RX 9060 XT 16GB VRAM buffer keeps texture quality intact where 8GB cards start making compromises. Expect high settings in the 80 to 110 frames per second range on demanding titles, and significantly higher on anything less intensive. And the platform age as well. The AM5 upgrade path means your next processor costs the chip price alone. The 32GB RAM ceiling won't be a bottleneck for years. When it's time for a GPU refresh in 2028 or 2029, the PSU and platform are already waiting. Drop a comment below. Are you working on a budget build right now, or is this going to help you plan your next upgrade? Hit subscribe for more honest, data-dense hardware breakdowns every week. This is the Hardware Core. See you on the next upgrade cycle.